This person is very special to me. I heard the lady Breanna for backing her up, but as long as I'm living, he ain't no choice. But I'm not saying this. If I have never met her before, and I just met her through this time in her life, I still would say the same thing. She's very anointed, very gifted, talented, and she lives what she talks about. How many of y'all, that's the most important thing, to live what we talk about. And that, she would put tidbits in the book here and there, and give us a little sneak peeks. But this can only come through a life of going through, and a life of compassion, seeing others go through, and a heart for God to want to see people get better. Because we can be very selfish and keep it all to ourselves, right? But I believe God has put this on our heart to share with everybody, so that, as the sister was saying, we all can be healed. Whether it be leaders, followers, those that are yet to come, this is really needed. But I'm going to get out of the way and turn it over to Breanna Spriggs.
I try to keep it together for things like this, but it's pretty much, it's so overwhelmingly moving just to see all of you guys. So the moment itself is good, but you guys is what makes it really good. So that's touching. So y'all just give me a second to see if I can have a voice that's not quivering. I'm gonna crack a few jokes here and there to try to get myself back together. But yes, but actually, I might as well just go with it because it'll probably be a few minutes before I actually do pull myself together. But I would like to say, I was thinking about it whenever I was organizing this, and I was like, it's my book, but I'm like, I feel weird planning it to surround all about me. Just seems a little cheesy. But the thing that God really put on my heart was to make it about y'all. Like the people who have throughout the years basically fueled who I am. I was telling somebody something like a book, and it was a lot of work. But you don't do that without good support. You don't do that without good seeds being planted into your life. And a book like this, you just don't. So one of the things that I would like to do is just single out just a lot of the people. First of all, I gotta single out my husband. Stand up there. And one of the reasons I single him out, not only just for being a good husband, but also in the process of things like this, as Pastor Patricia was saying. It's one thing to support somebody in what they do, but it's another thing to push somebody in what they do. It's another thing to be like, babe, you need to get your book out. And it's the small little things, like I'm getting myself together, and he's like, I'm going wash your car, because you're an author, you can't ride up there with your car. But there's no small details that just kind of lead into who I am, like, I can't ride me, that's feeling. That's feeling, especially when you're a person who pours out a lot, like that feels. My family. Raise your hands and stand up to my family. I was blessed with 2 days, y'all. Got Johnny, my sister. He's my father-in-law, but he's another dad. So let's just say I have 3 dads. And just but man, people like that, like, and again, here's another thing. When you have people in your life who have seen you throughout, again, when in doubt, zoom out. So they've seen you throughout the seasons of your life. And then you technically could have said family. That's how long. It's family, you know, and people have seen you through those ups, those downs. They know the parts of you that give up on writing a book. You know, they know the parts of you that couldn't write at one time because you were so little. They were putting ponytails in your head, bows, and then they were able to, because it's not easy to do that, they were able to shift whenever you grew, their vantage point and their view of you grew with it. You know, so the people who once had to nurture me to turn around and allow me to nurture them and not still see me as just the same little Breanna who, you know, that means a lot too. So whenever you have somebody like and please y'all, don't let Brother Raj fool y'all. He's one of those prolific Bible teachers there. You know, and so there was a time where he was at church doing this, and I was the kid running up to him for peppermints. So whenever to hear him say about my book, that just means so much coming from y'all. The love, you know, to say, you know what? I actually care about what she has to say. Where are my Lighthouse Family Church, Lighthouse for Jesus Ministries, Destiny of Faith, Faith to Faith, Malcolm and Jamaica, all of these people, the Fields, Sister Denise, all of you guys who have, whether it was playing bass, whether it was speaking, whether it was rapping, you know, who have just embraced any form of ministry that I was putting out there. You know, I just want to thank y'all so much because I feel like because of that, I was able to experience so much love, so much support and care from so many different people. And like I said, no matter what I was doing, I was rapping, y'all wanted me to do rap. If I played bass, y'all wanted me to play bass. Now I'm writing a book and y'all don't buy a book too. You know, if my face was attached to it, they had people who really just supported and loved it. And I mean, again, these are not things that I'm entitled to have. You know, honestly, I could have wrote a book just for me, and I would have been fine. I would be in here with the music playing, rejoicing, just to get it out. Nobody has to buy it. That's an accomplishment, you know, for me. But again, to have people really buy into it, and that's one of the prayers that I prayed to God is that, okay, God, for some reason, you thought to give me the influence of people. I don't know when that's that. Because that's a very special and fragile thing for people to actually trust what you say. Whether it's to read it in a book, or whether it's to speak, or whether it's to watch your social media, that really means a lot. And I just, you know, sometimes I just sit and just pray, like, well, God, please don't let me mess that up. Because if people trust me enough to listen to what I have to say, I want to say, make sure that I'm saying something that's meaningful. You know, I made sure that I prayed over these books before I sold them to you because there's the letter, so there's the black and white words that you read, but God knows the messages that need to be sent to your heart through them. Next thing was, and y'all, excuse my phone. I want you to really want to I'll get dropped in. But the next thing is this. I would like to just point out there. Okay. Let me pace myself before I start getting emotional again. Well, I can't stop. Give me a second. Okay. When Sister Ann passed, when she passed away, because of what she went to so many of us, I remember praying and feeling like I felt lost. So I was like, man, God, I feel like I have so much of my purpose left to fulfill. And I was like, I feel like I have so much of my purpose left to fulfill. And I was like, I need a mentor. I was like, I need somebody in my life that will give me guidance. And she couldn't make it today. One of the first people that God told me to reach out to was Pastor Darnell. She was one of the first people. But then God started opening up my life and sending so many dynamic women to impact my life and for me to encounter on the journey of my life. So I have to shout y'all out. Miss Melissa, you were one of them. You were one of the first ones that was kind of tough. You know, Pastor McCreasy Church. Miss Lisa. Man, and I don't think I call Miss Marie the GOAT. But I don't know if y'all realize how much, I'll say this, it took all of y'all to fill the space that Sister Ann left. One person. But each one of y'all have played such a dynamic part in who I am right now. It's almost like I couldn't trade having Sister Ann back to have y'all right now. And because of y'all, I don't feel lost. And there's a few people in this room who probably could connect with that feeling. When she like lost. So having y'all been a big deal. Alright? I'm gonna stop talking about it because there's no, you can't talk yourself out of continuing to cry over it. Alright? But yeah. So I just want to say that. Thank y'all. Thanks to all of y'all. Give yourselves a hand clap. No, y'all deserve better than that. And the cool thing is, the last person that I would have to say things to is my mom. But if y'all know my mom, she's not here yet. But I will say this, because I did want to do this too. I really wanted to shout out Lighthouse for Jesus, because when we talk about the church that healed, one of the things was when my mom when we were growing up, so I'm 8 years old, 8 years old, 5 years old, and my mom, again, single parent, doing it by herself. She was taking care of these, so she didn't herself work, you know what I'm saying? And so the time whenever she got saved, and she ended up moving to Abbeville. Okay, remember, I'm 8 years old, so I don't know anything about pastors, prophets, anybody speaking in tongues. You know, I didn't play the bass at the time. As a matter of fact, we came out of the Catholic Church. So I thought it was kind of sacrilegious for people to be running around the church. You know, I remember after we went to church the first time, I was like, I want to go back to the Catholic Church. This is not working for me. You know, it was much louder than the Catholic Church. It was a lot of preachers, it was like everything. I remember trying to figure out, because, you know, they would have Sister Ann preaching, and Pastor Donnie preaching, and sometimes Brother Marcus, and every time somebody would preach, I would be like, okay, maybe because that person is preaching, somebody won't run. But every time somebody preaches, somebody ran. I can't get away from it. You know, so then I just resolved to my mom, like, let's go back to that. You know what I mean? So yeah, but in the process, so I didn't know anything about church. But what the church became for us was a community. So now at this point, when I got off the bus, I had people's houses to go to. My mama could not buy clothes, but every year when Sister Bernice would, when she would clean out Rashida's clothes, she would bring those back to my house, and when I had all brand new clothes. You know, when you had Deb, Miss Rose, and Crystal in the backyard, so if somebody needed milk, bread, sugar, anything like that, you could pass them through the backyard, you know. And these were all people in your church. My mom, in that process, became an educator and started teaching. And that was something that she pursued in her degree, and, you know, and it was because the church was established in the school, and all these moms were like, well, we want to, you know, we're kind of concerned about putting our kids in public school right now. And so they came together as women, and that ended up being a, 27-year-old school graduating kids with college credits already. So it started with moms, like my mom, in back rooms of a church, you know. And so, and that has nothing to do with a church service, but it has everything to do with the service of the church.
Right.
Where you have this community where people who are living, you know, you're in community with these people, and so you always have something having your back. And so a lot of what the church that heals does is saying that if people could find them, y'all know I'm a counselor, but statistically, people go to the church first. And so the book is about what do they find when they do that. You know. So what I want to do is actually read a portion of the book. Now I kind of toiled over this because I didn't know what part to read. I have certain favorite parts, but I was like, maybe I should just do a random open the book and read. But I was like, we're not going to do that. But I'm going to find my place. I'm going to read the part about meeting the need. You would think I knew this book backwards and forwards. All right, cool, y'all ready? All right. Oh, and just a tidbit. As y'all reading y'all books, my footnotes turned into endnotes. So when y'all see those numbers, make sure y'all engage with the endnotes, because that's the coolest part of the book. I'm so proud of it. I do not want y'all to skip over it. And don't wait until the end of the chapter to read the endnotes. Read them in the moment because it just works. It just works. It has a Alright. In this chapter, we will do two things that I have not done yet in this book. Unpack scripture and have a brief psychology lesson. Those two things may not seem to correlate with each other, but you will soon see how both are necessary in recognizing the needs of others. When it involves recognizing the need, no one, and I mean no one, does that better than Jesus Christ himself. We will particularly see this in a snapshot of Luke 19 and 5, the story of Zacchaeus. The Bible is sure to inform us that Zacchaeus was a short man, but we cannot allow that to be the only thing that we remember about him. He was also a publican and a rich man. He had power within that region. He was well known and most likely hated because he was chief among the publicans or tax collectors. In those days, publicans were seen as thieves and traitors because they collected taxes from their fellow Jews for the Roman government. It was also common knowledge that they made some pretty hefty profits from their collections. Publicans were so hated that they were not allowed to hold public office or testify in the Jewish court. This was Zacchaeus. Of all the stories of people whose needs Jesus met in the Bible, this one was special because culturally, there was no reason for Zacchaeus to be on Jesus' radar that day. Zacchaeus was physically short, he was rich, and he was despised by every other Jew. But in that moment, Jesus saw past all of that and heard the cry of Zacchaeus' heart. He even extended himself and visited Zacchaeus' home. He ventured into Zacchaeus' intimate and vulnerable space and brought the salvation that Zacchaeus and his family needed. What does this mean for us as we endeavor to become the church that heals? Well, we must sharpen our ability to see past the cliff notes of what we think we know about others in order to connect with what they truly need. We often make the mistake of judging a person's level of need by their income. Zacchaeus was rich, but that did not stop Jesus from identifying that he still had a need. We often look to the bottom of the totem pole for neediness and miss the opportunity to minister to people from many different walks of life. I have often wondered why churches rather set up to do ministry outreach in the quote-unquote good neighborhoods the way they do in the seemingly quote-unquote bad ones. Do they not meet Jesus in gated communities? Oftentimes, this is rooted in the belief that money is our primary need. Let's see. In the world of psychology, there's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow developed a 5-tier model of human needs and proposed that the needs in the lower tier must be met before the needs in the top tier can be met. This hierarchy of needs is consistent with the Bible. When we see Jesus feeding people and not only ministering to them. In his epistle, James encourages the people of God to clothe and feed each other and feed others, instead of by faith telling them to go in peace, be warmed and filled, without actually providing those needs. Let's skip through a little bit, y'all. We're going to skip down to page 30. Last paragraph. There are 3 simple and practical ways to remain connected to the needs of those within your church community or family. And these 3 ways are to ask, debrief, and observe. So if y'all doing this, we're trying to be a little methodical and practical with y'all so y'all can use it. The simplest way to connect to the needs of those around you is to ask. Consistently checking with others about what needs they may currently have. One way to do this, which I rarely see churches do, is through surveys. Develop a survey or a poll that will allow those in your church to identify the needs they have and to give their thoughts about how well your church is meeting those needs. Never make assumptions about what the people in your church community need or assume that everyone within your church community has the same needs. Ask the various departments of the church if they have everything they need to execute the job that they are there to do. For example, in music ministry, musicians need drumsticks, batteries, strings, extension cords, and surge protectors. Assuming that every musician has the means to buy those things for themselves would be a misstep, because often they do not. I know I won't. I still need some strength. A simple offer by the church to help with purchasing these essentials will go a long way in helping them to feel valued. The next way to connect to the needs of those within your church community or family is to debrief after major or significant events. Sometimes things happen within communities and churches, and we never stop to simply debrief everyone about what happened and assess how they may have been affected as a whole. When a prominent deacon in your church dies, for example, be careful not to just perform the funeral, send flowers to the family, place someone in his stead, and move on. Instead, pause. Bring the church, or at least the leaders who labored alongside of him, together and talk about how his death may have affected everyone and what that may mean for how everyone moves forward. When a storm hits the town that your church is in, make sure to debrief and assess what the members of your church need to repair their homes or to replace food that was spoiled in a power outage. Ask how the church can help. Help can be something as simple as having a group of members cook and offer free meals from the church kitchen every night for a week. The church can be a major resource. It just requires to take the time to assess and create a formal platform for others to share what their needs are. And that's all. I'm not giving y'all any more.